Now let's have a look on the characters of the play. So we have James Tyrone, who was a famous stage actor. Mary Tyrone, his wife. James Tyrone Jr., known as Jamie in the play, he's their elder son. Edmund Tyrone is the younger son. Kathleen is the second girl, a maid. Dr. Hardy is a quack, an inexpensive doctor who is just mentioned, and he once telephones in the play. And Eugene is also mentioned. He is the brother of James Tyrone and Edmund Tyrone. He died when James Tyrone Jr., Jamie, was a kid. So Eugene was the second born who died in very early days. So these are the main characters, and we'll have a detailed look on the character sketch. James Tyrone is 65 but looks 10 years younger. About 5 feet 8, broad-shouldered and deep-chested, he seems taller and slenderer because of his bearings, which has a solitary quality of head up, chest out, stomach in, shoulders curved. His face has begun to break down, but he is still remarkably good-looking, a big, finely shaped head, a handsome profile, deep-set, light brown eyes. His grey hair is thin, with a bald spot like a monk's tonsure. The stamp of his profession is unmistakably on him. Not that he indulges in any kind of deliberate, temperamental posturings of the stage star. He is by nature and preference a simple, unpretentious man, whose inclinations are still close to his humble beginnings and his Irish farmer forebears. But the actor shows in all his unconscious habits of speech, movement, and gesture. These have the quality of belonging to a studied technique. His voice is remarkably fine, resonant, and flexible, and he takes great pride in it. His clothes do not costume and romantic poet. He wears a threadbare, ready-made grey sack suit in shineless black shoes, a collarless shirt with a thick white handkerchief knotted loosely around his throat. There's nothing different and careless about his get-up. It is commonplace shabby. He believes in wearing his clothes to the limit of usefulness, is dressed now for gardening, and does not give a damn how he looks. He has never been really sick a day in his life. He has no nerves. There is a lot of stolid, earthly present in him, mixed with streaks of sentimental melancholy and rare flashes of intuitive sensibility. Tyrone is well-built and muscular. He was a stage actor. He moved all over America performing the stage. So he earned a lot of money, and he was very famous. And even Edmund Booth, a famous stage star, commented that Tyrone played Othello better than he ever did. So he had his fame. But for the sake of earning more and more money, he went into the melodramas, and thus he lost his career. And now he is spending almost a retired life from stage acting. He is a miser and spends very little on his family and on his daily life. He is miser because he knows the value of a dollar. He had very bad past experiences because he saw his mother suffering because his father left them to rot in gutter, and he died of excessive alcohol. So Tyrone was alone with his sisters and his mother, and he had to look after the family. His mother would go from one house to another, and she was working as maid in different places. Only once in their life, his Mother brought on some Easter or some Good Friday, she was given $1, and she bought some handsome food for the family. And it was once in many years that they had eaten till they fell. He had good voice since he was a stage actor, so his voice is rendered for that quality. His dressing, now as we have now, I just told you that he was dressed in the farmer's cloth because he had to spend a day in his garden in trimming of the plants. So he was dressed like a garden, and since he was a stage actor, he likes to wear according to the role he is playing. His another flaw is that he has land lust. He buys land, and most of his land is mortgage, so he says himself that he is not a rich person. He is a land mortgage, because he is all the time buying new property instead of paying mortgages to the previous properties that he is having. Moreover, he is a Catholic. He is not a very good Catholic, but as compared to the members of his family, he is Catholic to some extent. He prays to God every day, and then he suffers from Oedipus complex. So that these complexes, Oedipus and Electra, are running throughout the play. James Tyrone suffers from Oedipus complex because he hates his father and he loves his mother. So he rather abhors, detests his father for whatever he did for the family, and he loves his mother for the reason that she took after all the rest of the people of the family despite being poor. So he suffers from this complex. Mary is 54, about medium height. She still has young, graceful figure, a trifle plump, but showing little evidence of middle-aged waist and hips, although she is not tightly crested. Her face is distinctively Irish in type. It must once have been extremely pretty and is still striking. It does not much match her healthy figure, but is thin and pale with the bone structure prominent. Her nose is long and straight, her mouth wide with full sensitive lips. She uses no rogue or any sort of makeup. Her high forehead is framed by thick, pure white hair. Accentuated by her pallor and white hair, her dark brown eyes appear black. They are sensuously large and beautiful, with black brows and long curling lashes. What strikes one immediately is her extreme nervousness. Her hands are never still. They were once beautiful hands with long, tapering fingers, but rheumatism has knotted the joints and wrapped the fingers so that now they have an ugly, crippled look. One avoids looking at them. The more so because one is conscious she is sensitive about their appearance and humiliated by her inability to control the nervousness which draws attention to them. She is dressed simply, but with a sure sense of what becomes her. Her hair is arranged with fastidious care. Her voice is soft and attractive. When she is merry, there is touch of Irish liltinette. And one more thing. We find a shyness of a convent girl that now she has almost lost, but she was always wanting it to be with her. So Mary Tyrone is a personality who is smart and courteous. Since her childhood, she wanted to be either a nun or a pianist. So these were her two passions and aims, that either she wanted to join the religion or she wanted to become a piano player. Now when we look at her, or what strikes us immediately, that she is all the time nervous. She's all the time moving her hands because of are suffering from rheumatism, and that is due to the excess or addiction of morphine in her. She is never static. Her hands are most of the time in movement. Because when you look at her hands, you feel that she is taking drugs, and that is what she doesn't want everyone to feel. So she is moving her hands. She is either drumming them or moving them like a comb in her hair. Mary is a split personality. She is in her childhood as well as in her present. She takes drugs, she takes morphine, and the amount of morphine that she is consuming in a day is bringing her closer to her past. And by the end of the play, when we see her, when she has taken a huge quantity of morphine, after consuming that huge quantity, now she has gone back to her remotest childhood, like in the time that he remembers. With the first dose, she goes back to the time when James Tyrone was not taking care of her after the marriage. The second dose, after second dose, she comes to remember that when they were not married, like it was, people in those days did not like stage actors. So some of her friends left Mary because she married a stage actor, and others left her because there was an affair of James Tyrone with some unknown person, unknown girl. So, but since Mary loved James Tyrone, so she married him. But there are certain reasons. As soon as she is taking drugs, she is going back to her past. When she takes third dose of the drug, she goes to the time when she is not yet married, but she is preparing for her wedding, and she talks and mentions about her wedding dress and what happened to her when she first wore the wedding dress. And then after another dose, she goes back to the time when she first saw James Tyrone. So in this way, she is going back to her past as soon as she is taking drugs. She seeks solitude. She wants to be lonely. She does not want her family to be around her. It is because she is wanting drugs. She is wanting morphine. So whenever she is wanting morphine, she wants that everyone should be out of the house. And after when she has taken the drug, she wants that everyone should be with her so that she doesn't feel lonely. She wants everybody out of the house because they criticize her. She, before coming to the house after sanatorium, when the play begins, she used to sleep in spare room. Spare room is just like an adjacent room, which is not the living room or sleeping room. So she would go to that room and sleep alone because she took drugs there. Now the family detects her going in and sleeping in that room again, and Jamie is the first one to notice it. So that creates a rough issue between the family. So she wants to be lonely so that she can enjoy her drugs. And she's not much linked with religion now. It was a time when she wanted to be a nun. But now she has lost that aim because whatever she likes now is drug only, and there's nothing else that can inspire her in the present time. She suffers from electrocomplex. She hates her mother and loves her father. She talks about the time when she was in her father's house. So she says that was the best time of her life. She was happy, she was enjoying, and her father would do anything she wanted. He would give her anything she demanded, and her mother was most of the time careful of this thing, that his father was making her a spoiled child by fulfilling all the requests she made. And she also says that my mother was jealous of me because I was so close to the father. And her textual remarks mention that she is missing her father, not her mother. So whenever she mentions her house, she is mentioning as her father's house, not as her mother's house. Jamie is the elder son, and he is 33. He has his father's broad shoulder and deep-chested physique. Yes, he is an inch taller, but he appears shorter and stouter because he lacks Tyrone's bearings and graceful carriage. He also lacks his father's vitality. The sign of premature disintegration are on him. His face is still good looking despite marks of dissipation, but it has never been handsome like Tyrone's. Although Jamie resembles him rather than his mother. He has fine brown eyes, the color midway between his father's lighter and his mother's darker tone. His hair is thinning and already there is indication of a bald spot like Tyrone. And one very important thing about his personality is that he is the most cynic person in the family. So when he's talking to the rest of the family members, his most comments are cynical. He is good for nothing. We are told in the play that he has very petty jobs. He left the school in the very beginning. James Tyrone wanted him to be a stage actor like him, but he could not be a good stage actor because he was not much interested. He was not willing to be a part of the stage. He did not have any good inclinations to become a stage actor. He wanted to do something good, but he never would start from the scratch. So James Tyrone was all the time complaining this thing, that Jimmy had some goods in him of being a stage actor, but he never wanted to start from the scratch. On the other hand, Jamie had petty jobs and he earned very little amount of money, and that he spent on drinking and whores. Jimmy suffers from Oedipus complex, and he likes his mother and hates his father. And he likes his mother so much that once in the play he meets a whore. And then when he's talking to his brother Edmund, and when he's drunk, he's unconsciously trying to make an analysis between that whore and his mother. Then Jamie is a split personality. He is mostly against his brother, but that's what Edmund does not know until the end of the play. So when it is end of the play, when they're sitting together, Edmund is informed by Jimmy that Jimmy says to him that when you go to sanatorium, because they know he has TB and he has to be sent to a sanatorium. So he says, when you're there, think that I am dead. I am no more. Tell people that I am dead. But when you will come back, I'll see you, I'll meet you with the same love and affection that I showed you before. But the first chance that I get, I'll stab you in the back. So Edmund is stunned to know this, that his own brother is saying this thing. But the reality is that Jimmy, since he was a child, he was always jealous of his previous brother, Eugene, and now with Edmund. He wanted Edmund to fail in his life because he knew that Edmund was more shining, promising, brilliant than him. So he exposed him to drugs, he exposed him to whores, he got him into drinking, and he made sure that his brother is rotten and is damaged. So he is, after all, successful in this thing. And then we are told that he is not linked with the religion. He is quite cynic about everything, and he does not have very good opinion about God. Edmund is 10 years younger than his brother, a couple of inches taller, thin and grey. But Jamie takes after his father with little resemblance to his mother. Edmund looks like both his parents, but is more like his mother. His big dark eyes are the dominant feature in his long, narrow Irish face. His mouth has the same quality of hypersensitiveness that she possesses. His high forehead is hers accentuated with dark brown hair, and his hair is brushed straight back from it. But his nose is to his father's, and his face in profile recalls Tyrone's. Edmund's hands are noticeably like his mother's, with the same exceptionally long fingers. They even have, to a minor degree, the same nervousness. It is in the quality of extreme nervous sensibility that the likeness of Edmund to his mother is most marked. He is plainly in bad health, much thinner than he should be. His eyes appear feverish and his cheeks are sunken. His skin, in spite of being sunburned, a deep brown, has parched shallowness. He wears a shirt, collar and a tie. No coat, old flannel trousers, brown sneakers. So, like his mother, we are told. So he is suffering from TB, and Tyrone once mentions while talking to Jamie about the health of Edmund that Edmund takes after his mother. So he had the constitution of his mother, so he cannot stand the excess of drinking and alcohol. Moreover, we are told that he also likes drinking and wars. It is what Jamie put him on to, and it was because of his elder brother that he went into such company. He suffers from Oedipus complex as well. And like 3 characters in the play, they're suffering from Oedipus complex and 1 for Electro complex, since Mary is the only woman in the house. And that makes her in awkward position too. So, suffering from Oedipus complex. As we are told that since he has much facial features like his mother, his fingers are like his mother, and there is somewhat chemistry between mother and son. We see from the beginning that Mary is taking more care of Edmund rather than she takes care of Jamie. Rather, she seems to be hating Jamie. Edmund is the only person in the house who is protecting his mother the most. He knows that she takes drugs. She's again on to morphine. She did not quit taking morphine. But she's not suspecting her like the rest of the family. He is all the time protecting her. He doesn't want his brother, his father, shout at his mother or blame her for anything. So he tries to be with his mother all the time. He tries to make her feel comfortable, and he does not want her to remember whatever happened. He too had pathetic jobs. He went on to different voyages. He went to different places, tropical areas where he suffered so many diseases, and that is why he was so thin. In the beginning, he was too interested in literature. He wrote poetry, dramas, he wrote in magazines, in newspapers, and that is why Jamie was jealous of him. As far as his job is concerned, he did not have any good job. He too, like Jamie, was on pathetic jobs, and he was not linked with religion either. So now we'll be talking about the minor characters. There are some characters who are just mentioned in the play, and some really appeared. So as far as Kathleen was the second girl. She was the maid servant of the house, and she was the lady who was a part-time servant. She was not fit to be a permanent servant, because Tyrone family came to Ireland in their summer vacations. So they had to hire such people who were not permanently working somewhere, so they could work with them. So Kathleen was one of them. She was not a high-class servant, high-class maid. We are told about Kathleen that she knew what Mary Tyrone was doing. She knew that she was taking drugs. She knew that she took the drugs from the medical stores through Kathleen. So Kathleen knew everything. Bridget, on the other hand, is a cook in the family. So she is not shown, she doesn't come to the screen or stage, but we are told that she is a very angry girl, and she hates if she has to wait a little longer than her time. Smith is the driver, and we know that he's a kind of lusty person who has an eye on Kathleen. Eugene was the baby. He was born after Jamie, and he died in his childhood. And Mary thinks that he died because of Jamie, who had then measles, and he went to the room of Eugene on purpose. Dr. Hardy is a quack, a cheap doctor of the town where they're living. He's friend of James Tyrone, and he charges only $1. That's why James Tyrone prefers consulting him. Rest of the family argues that James Tyrone is just in relation with Hardy because he's cheaper, and James Tyrone doesn't want to go to a finer doctor in the town. Hotel doctor was another doctor who treated Mary when she was expecting Edmund, and it was the time when she was put to morphine, because morphine in those days was not allowed to be injected into the people, because it was a drug. It was it created addiction in people. So that hotel doctor did not know this, since he was too a cheap quack, and James Tyrone wouldn't go for the first class. So he hired that petty cheap quack hotel doctor who put Mary on to morphine. And that is why Jamie also hates Edmund. He tells him that I hate you because it was after you that mother started taking morphine. Before you, and even James Tyrone says this, before the birth of Edmund, she did not take any drugs because she didn't know this. Mary's parents are described that they were taking care of her. Father was more taking care of Mary. She loved her father and hated her mother. And we are also told about Tyrone's parents. Tyrone loved his father and hated his mother. Tyrone loved his mother and hated his father, because his father left his mother and rest of the family in isolation, and he didn't take care of them. So his mother had to support the family. Thank you very much for your patience and listening to the lecture. I hope you would have liked the channel. If not, please like the channel, hit the bell icon, and please keep liking the videos and subscribe to my channel. You'll keep getting more good videos on literature and linguistics.